You've felt it at the checkout counter. The exact same cart of groceries suddenly costs $50 more than it did a few years ago. It is easy to assume the market is simply becoming more unpredictable. But when we look at the specific timing of these price hikes, two distinct policy patterns begin to emerge. This chart maps two major national policy timelines against average household monthly expenses to see if there is a correlation. First, we track the rollout of aggressive global tariffs. Next, we add the timeline for restricted immigration policies, reducing the national labor pool. The rise in household expenses is the mathematical result of these shifts. The cost of living spikes exactly where these policies take effect. Tariffs operate like a stealth tax. When a company imports physical goods, they pay the government and then they pass that cost directly to you at the register. Meanwhile, a smaller labor pool creates a worker shortage. Local businesses, from restaurants to repair shops, must pay higher wages to attract staff, forcing them to raise prices on services to cover the payroll. Since these national policies are outside your control, the only way to stabilize your budget is to change how you spend your remaining income. To navigate this, you must identify which parts of your budget are being inflated by tariffs and which are being driven by the labor shortage. Focus first on physical goods, specifically categories like electronics and clothing that rely heavily on imports. If you maintain your usual buying habits for tech or out-of-season produce, you are absorbing that tariff penalty directly at the register. This matrix identifies where these policies hit your wallet. The first column shows the primary targets for tariffs: electronics, apparel, and imported food. Continuing to buy these items without a strategy reduces your disposable income while providing no extra value in return. To avoid this, you can shift your spending to domestic brands or opt for refurbished technology. This strategy saves money, but it requires more upfront research and forces you to give up your preferred brands. Audit these three categories immediately: out-of-season food, fast fashion, and entry-level electronics. In this environment, brand loyalty to an imported product has become a financial liability. Choosing brand preference over cost in the physical goods sector now carries a heavy premium that drains your savings. Next, look at your local community, specifically the services and logistics you use every day. Because the immigrant workforce is smaller, local companies must pay a premium to find workers, a cost they eventually pass on to you. Returning to our matrix, the second column outlines the impact of these labor shortages. The hardest hit sectors for your household are food delivery, dining out, and hired home maintenance. Higher payroll costs for these businesses result in a service premium on every invoice you receive. To mitigate this, you can insource that labor, performing your own repairs, picking up your own food, and cooking at home. This protects your cash, but the trade-off is a significant drain on your personal time and energy. For households that are already short on time, this creates a high level of daily friction. The real danger is the compounding effect, getting hit by goods inflation and service premiums simultaneously. Attempting to maintain a 2019 standard of living without adjusting these habits often leads to a reliance on high-interest credit cards just to bridge the gap. You have to choose which penalty your family can afford: sacrificing brand choice to save on goods, or sacrificing free time to save on services. Effective mitigation requires a strategy tailored to your household's specific constraints. Use this flowchart to identify your defense strategy. It splits based on your primary constraint: time or budget. If your schedule is full and you cannot afford to insource local services, follow the time-poor path. You must ruthlessly audit your physical goods. By cutting out tariff premiums on non-essentials, you can free up the cash needed to keep paying for service convenience. If your cash flow is already at its limit, your strategy shifts to the budget-conscious path. You should cancel delivery apps and switch to local, in-season grocery staples immediately. Additionally, delay any major tech or electronics upgrades to avoid the tariff markup. Household budgets now operate under a different cost structure. Choosing to prepare a meal at home instead of paying for delivery is a tactical response to the rising cost of someone else's labor. Both paths require compromises that can be difficult to maintain over the long term. However, managing the divide between tariffs and labor shortages is the only way to protect your household from ongoing economic turbulence.